Millionaire shark, serial entrepreneur Kevin O'Leary is now an expert in the housing market. He's warning homebuyers to not expect mortgage rates to go down to 5.5%, which is, by the way, what he says is the magic number to get homebuyers off of the shelf.
Increasing prices combined with the falling inventory has negatively impacted the housing market this year, with mortgage rates staying high. Buyers and sellers are worried. So joining me now is chairman of O'Leary Ventures, Mr. Wonderful himself, Kevin O'Leary. Kevin, great to see you. I do want to talk housing, but to get to that, we have to talk inflation. We have to talk interest rates. And you do not think the Fed will cut rates next month.
All right. So first of all, is that a pink tutu? I think it is. Wow. And I think he's in his pajamas. But anyway, she said that buyers and sellers are worried. Well, sellers may be worried. I don't think buyers are worried very much at all, actually. I think they're checked out. Actually, home sales activity is like a ghost town. I showed houses this weekend, and the homes on the market only one day had zero activity other than me and my clients, according to what I could see on the showing schedule and the fact that nobody else came to see the house in the entire hour that we were there. And if this was just a short time ago, a home's first day on the market, what that meant was a revolving door of exuberant buyers. So it's just not the case right now. So is it because that people are away on vacation, or is it because back to school is right around the corner, or is it that mortgage rates are back to historic norms, or is it because the housing market has finally crashed? Now, realtors, mortgage people, title companies, home inspectors, the list goes on, want home buyers to ignore the fact that home prices today are just simply outrageous, and they want them to focus on getting ready for cheaper mortgage rates like what we're listening to right now. And they're hoping that the Fed Chairman Powell will cave into the political pressure and drop rates 200 or 300 basis points in September. And by the way, that means 2 or 3%. And Mr. Wonderful doesn't think the Fed will cave to the political pressures because of tariffs.
You do not think the Fed will cut rates next month.
No, I don't. I'm not investing that way. If they do cut, it would be 25 basis points, which isn't that material. There are some significant challenges here, and I'll tell you what the Fed is thinking. And remember, the Fed, even though there's been so much Fed bashing, and every administration bashes the Fed. This is the sport of being the president. It happens all the time. But it doesn't really affect what the Fed does. And here's the quandary they're in. When you think about the tariff narrative that's gone on since April 3rd, there's been tremendous volatility in what actually gets implemented, in addition to extensions to places like Mexico for 90 days, or the ongoing narrative with China. And so if you're a CEO of an S&P 500 company, we just talked about Target a moment ago, and any other one, or even a small business in America, you don't know where the landing zone is for the final tariff on your product or service. You have no idea. So up to date to now, most of these companies, including behemoth automotive companies, have been absorbing the costs of increase of these tariffs, which have been put on them on and off and on and off, and they're just waiting. So if you're the Fed, if you're Powell, you're saying, I don't yet know when these behemoth companies are going to pass through these costs to consumers, which will be inflationary. We just don't have that number yet.
All right, so tariffs on again, off again. I'm still stuck at the fact that he said it's the sport of the president bashing the Fed. So I'm thinking like on again, off again. I'm thinking like the president's jumping up, spiking a ball at the Fed. I've been saying that major companies are going to start jacking up their prices, right, to pass these higher costs of tariffs onto the consumers. Some companies have already done this. So Axios.com, which is an American news company, published an article August 20th saying companies can't hold the line on prices much longer. The corporate pricing dam is cracking. Companies are raising prices or signaling that increases are coming to absorb some of the cost of the Trump administration tariffs. It says that home superstore Home Depot had been able to maintain prices on imported products because they'd stockpiled before tariffs took effect. But now the company expects modest price movement in some categories. And last month, Procter & Gamble, maker of toothpaste, laundry detergent, etc., said that it would raise prices in August on about a quarter of the products as a result of the tariffs. And the auto industry could be next. New vehicle prices have been mostly flat as automakers have eaten the cost of the tariffs, but that won't last long, according to former GM executive Warren Brown, now head of RFQ Insights, which advises automotive suppliers. Now, home buyers are not thinking about buying houses until prices, yes, prices, not interest rates, drop. At least that's from what I'm hearing. Interest rates dropping doesn't make property taxes, home maintenance, repair costs, or homeowners insurance any cheaper. In fact, higher home prices increases everything I just mentioned. People don't have the money. Even those who have the money to spend do not like the higher cost of living. I just went to the Maryland State Fair this past weekend. I got to tell you, it was $15 to park, $15 a person just to get inside, $16 for an awful quality Italian sausage that had a stale roll, and $10 for a funnel cake. And the cashier said to me, it's been really slow this year. I wondered. I wonder why. Now, back to housing. Honestly, all of the buyers I'm talking to right now feel home prices are ridiculous. I feel the same way. In my opinion, anyone in this business should feel the same way too. That is, if they're listening to what their clients are saying. Oh, and by the way, many homes I'm seeing with clients now either need tons of work for the price or the house was completely rehabbed by an investor and is way overpriced because the investor overpaid for the house in the first place, and they spent too much money fixing it up. Unfortunately, this would be a costly lesson for many of these investors who thought that flipping houses would make you rich.
So if we landed and we knew with certainty, let's say by the midterms in November, that the actual reciprocal tariff rate was only 10%, then Powell could give a read to it and understand, okay, I think the inflation is going to be relatively benign. But if it ends up being 35% or 39% like it is in Switzerland or 35% in Canada, that's causing chaos on softwood lumber and goods and services from Switzerland that have not yet been baked into inflation. So if you're the Fed, with all of that information that you have, that we've just downloaded together, you just say, no, Nanette, I'm not doing anything till I know where we land. And that is going to affect housing.
Guys, do you think I'm wearing pajamas right now? I can't help but to think that maybe I should. So what would it take for home buyers to jump back into the market? Do you believe cheaper mortgage rates would work? Would it take massive price reductions or both? Let me know in the comments below.
All right. So with so much uncertainty, if no interest rate cut happens, what does that mean for mortgages? What does that mean for the housing market? And what does it mean for the economy overall?
Well, if you're sitting at 7+% for mortgages, that does take the air out of the sails for home starts and for housing, because it is not 3.5%. It is materially higher. So what everybody's hoping for, and I'm almost saying dreaming in the housing market, whether you're constructing them or selling them or you're a broker, is to see mortgage rates drop to 5.5%. That's the magic number.
Whew, that's the magic number, 5.5%. So tell me something. Why is it that home builders have been offering rate buydowns of around 5% for a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage for the last several years now, and sales are at all-time lows? And inventory, well, it just keeps piling up.
You would need the Fed to drop interest rates almost 200 basis points for that to happen. And I think the chance of that is zero. And so we're going to be kind of stalled out here. Now, if you want to buy a house and you're a starter house buyer, you're going to end up buying 33% less square feet if mortgage rates are still between 7 and 7.5% versus 3.5 to 4%. So get ready for that. Your starter home is not going to be 1,500 or 2,000 square feet. It's going to be 950 square feet, maybe a condo or something, because that's what you can afford, because you've got to keep your mortgage payment around a third of your after-tax income on a monthly basis, or you run into financial trouble.
The Fed would have to cut 200 basis points to get rates down to 5.5%. He's saying that there is 0% chance of that happening. So let's talk about what it's like to not have a mortgage more than 1/3 of your after-tax income. Let's say you live in Maryland and your household income is $100,000. If you're married, your after-tax income, depending on your deductions, may be around $85,000 per year. This would give you a monthly net income of about $7,000 per month. Now, I'm not an accountant. Check your own paycheck. But per Mr. Wonderful's recommendation, that would give you about $2,300 per month to spend on your mortgage payment. If mortgage rates drop to 5.5%, and again, if mortgage rates dropped, pay attention to that, to 5.5%, following Mr. O'Leary's recommendations, which makes perfectly good sense to me, you should not be financing an amount higher than $337,000. So if you want to buy a home that costs $387,000, you would need to put down $50,000 plus closing costs to get you down to that $337K. That's financing no more than 3.37 times your annual pre-tax income. And even that's stretched a bit, in my opinion. In my home affordability calculator in Todd's Simple Home Buying course, I recommend that you not finance any more than 3x your pre-tax household income. So in this case, if you're making $100K pre-tax per year, don't finance any more than $300K for your home. And this is a great way to determine how much cash you'll need before buying a home. So I hope this helps. And by the way, never, ever, ever, ever buy a home without first taking my Todd Simple Home Buying course. This course is designed for anyone wanting to know how to buy a home. It's designed to take you through the entire home buying process from start to finish. You'll learn how to represent yourself should you want to avoid paying real estate commissions, the best ways to shop for a home, how to avoid costly mistakes, what to look for when touring a home, negotiation tactics, and so much more. In this home buying course, I hold nothing back. In fact, I would go to say that no one has uncovered the home buying process like I have. I've even made a way for you to gift this course to your family and friends. Visit saxrealty.education. The link is also pinned in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, you can smash that thumbs up. It'll let me know. And don't forget, the biggest compliment that you could do besides subscribing to our channel is to share this video with your family and friends. See you next time. Sachs Realty, Maryland broker number 607720, office number 443-318-4514, equal housing opportunity.